All right, let's talk about something really cool. Building a house that's not just smart, but, well, wise. A home that actually works with nature instead of constantly fighting against it. We're talking about using the sun's incredible and totally free energy to keep you perfectly warm in the winter and cool in the summer, just by using good design.
And when you really get down to it, this isn't about fancy tech or complicated stats. It's about a feeling. It's about how your home feels when you wake up on a freezing cold morning and it's just comfortable. It's about a quality of life that you can't really put a price on.
So, how do we get there? Well, here's our roadmap. We're going to start with the big idea, a house that works. Then we'll break down the 5 crucial pillars that make it all happen. From there, we'll get into the actual blueprint, answer some key questions, and finally, look at the amazing payoff.
Okay, so first up, what does it even mean to have a house that works? It means we're making a huge mental shift. We're moving away from brute force, cranking the thermostat up and down, and toward a really elegant partnership with the world right outside our windows.
And this really lays it all out, doesn't it? On one side, you've got the old way, constantly fighting the seasons with expensive, complex machines and getting huge energy bills for the trouble. But on the other side, you have the smart way, working with the seasons, using the sun for free heat and smart design for free cooling. It's not about adding more stuff, it's about being smarter from the very beginning.
I absolutely love this analogy. Just think about your house as one big passive solar collector. We're not talking about bolting panels onto the roof here. We're talking about the house itself, its shape, its windows, its materials, being designed to drink in the sun when it's cold and throw shade on itself when it's hot.
So, how does this amazing living machine actually run? Well, it's all built on 5 essential pillars. And here's the catch. They all have to work together. It's a system. If you leave even one of these out, the whole thing just doesn't work.
And here they are, the big 5. First, you need an aperture. That's your windows to let the sun in. Then you need an absorber. Think dark-colored floors or walls to soak up all that beautiful sunshine. Next is thermal mass, which stores the heat. Distribution is just how that warm air moves around. And finally, control. This is key, is what stops you from getting too much sun. They're all pieces of the same puzzle.
Now, let's zoom in on thermal mass for a second, because this is kind of the secret sauce. The source material calls it a battery for warmth, and that's the perfect way to think about it. Dense materials like a concrete floor or a brick wall literally charge up with the sun's heat all day long. And then, all through the night, they slowly release that heat, keeping your home at this wonderfully stable, cozy temperature. No furnace required.
Okay, so the theory is awesome, right? But now for the really fun part. How do you actually build this thing? Let's dive into the practical blueprint and see how these principles come to life.
And listen, this first step is everything. It's the foundation of the whole design. You have to find true south. And no, that's not the same as the magnetic south that your compass points to. True south is a fixed geographic point, and getting your home oriented to it is absolutely non-negotiable if you want to capture all that free solar energy.
So, just how perfectly do you have to be oriented? Well, that brings us to this number, 90%. What do you think that could possibly refer to? Turns out it's some really good news for anyone trying to build one of these homes.
It's called the 15-degree rule. Basically, you've got some wiggle room. The sources point out that as long as your house is facing within 15 degrees of true south, either way, you can still grab about 90% of all the available winter sun. That gives you some real-world flexibility for your specific lot, which is fantastic.
All right, next up, shape. The perfect shape for a passive solar home is actually a rectangle that's long on its east to west axis. And why is that? Well, it creates this huge south-facing face for the sun to hit all day long, letting that low winter light penetrate deep into the house. If your house is a square, the back rooms are always going to be dark and chilly.
And this is just so smart. The layout of the rooms becomes part of the system. You put the rooms you live in the most, your kitchen, your family room, on that bright, sunny south side. And then you put the buffer rooms, like the garage, closets, the laundry room, on the cold north side. They literally act as an extra layer of insulation, shielding you from those chilly northern winds. It's brilliant.
Okay, now we get to my favorite part of the whole design, the simple, genius roof overhang. Let's talk about summer first. The sun is way up high in the sky, right? A correctly sized overhang acts like a permanent, built-in visor for your house, completely shading your south-facing windows from that intense heat. Voila, natural, free air conditioning.
But, and this is where the magic really happens,
In the winter, the sun is much, much lower in the sky, so it sails right under that very same overhang and floods your home with all that beautiful free warmth. Think about that. One simple fixed piece of the house does two totally opposite jobs perfectly depending on the season. It's just so smart.
And you can't just slap any old window on the walls. Not all glass is created equal. On the south side, you actually want windows with a high solar heat gain coefficient. That's a fancy way of saying they're really good at letting the sun's heat in. But on the east and west walls, where the summer sun is brutal, you want the opposite, a low SHGC, to block that heat out. It's a strategic decision for every wall of the house. Okay, this all sounds pretty amazing, I know. But you probably have some questions buzzing around your head, right? Let's go ahead and tackle some of the most common ones that people ask about passive solar design.
So, does it work when it's cloudy? Yep. A really well-insulated house with all that thermal mass can kind of coast on its stored heat for days. Is it more expensive? Not really. You're just moving money around. You're spending less on a giant furnace and AC, and you're putting that money into better windows and insulation. And can you do this to an existing house? That's tough. This strategy really works its magic when it's baked into the home's DNA right from the blueprint stage.
So let's bring this all home. After all the planning and smart design, what's the actual payoff? Why does any of this really matter to you and your family?
Well, the benefits are huge. Yeah, you're going to have much, much lower energy bills, maybe none at all. But that's just the start. The real prize is the comfort. A stable temperature, no cold spots, no drafts. It's also just healthier. Living in a space flooded with natural light does wonders for your mood. And honestly, a home that's been planned with this much care and attention to detail is just a better quality home, period.
And to make this really actionable, here's a checklist you could literally take to a builder. 1. Make sure the lot can have a long east-west shape. 2. Find true south with a proper tool. 3. Put most of your windows on that south wall. 4. Plan for materials with good thermal mass inside. And 5. Do the math to calculate those overhangs precisely for where you live. Get these right and you're golden. And all of this leaves us with one final big question to think about. Look at the home you live in now. Is it working with nature, or is it constantly fighting a battle against it, burning fuel and money just to keep you comfortable? Is it just a box, or could it be a smart, living system, working in harmony with the sun? It's a pretty powerful thought.
Thanks for joining me.